Dirk.
Hi everyone.
Good
Hi.
morning. Hello. Good to see you.
This is good to be here.
We haven't done a morning chat in a while, I think.
I think we have.
Yeah,
When I came back, there was one that we did. So yes, back in the saddle.
Back in the saddle, hey. And next Sunday, you're preaching and we can have double the number there.
That's good. I think November 17th, the government restrictions are lifted and we can double everything from 4 square meters to 2. That means we can have 140 inside, 50 on the foyer.
Yes.
So, wow.
Yeah, very good.
Getting good numbers now.
Very
Don't stay home. Come on in.
Yeah. So you've got a book online, but yeah, it should be possible. Hey, so what are you preaching on? This is for the study guide, whatever.
Yeah, so it's Saturday study guide down below, and for your groups to have a bit of a look. I've got to give you a little bit of a backstory to what I'm preaching on and what I feel God is saying to us in this time.
Yes.
And that's why it's like, Edgar had a time with the ministers, and he took a picture from John, and in the opening part of John, where John the Baptist identifies Jesus as the bridegroom and he as the friends of the bridegroom.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that and we went into Song of Solomon's and all sorts of stuff like that. But it was about intimacy with God.
And it's a very dominant picture in the Bible. Jesus is the bridegroom, meaning he loves us with that kind of love.
So that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
And particularly focusing on there's a lot of stuff in the Old Testament of certain events that have shaped Jewish understanding of the marriage traditions and rites so forth. And I'm going to use that to actually talk about when Jesus comes to get his bride, what are some of those parallels to that?
Yes.
And so that'll be, kind of the main focus. But I want to finish it off then looking at a Matthew passage where the father or the king, depending on which, sends out the invitation for the wedding feast to come everybody else. And in Matthew, everyone has an excuse, and then he gets upset and says, "Go out in highways and byways and get everyone in." And in the Luke version of that, again, it starts off by everyone having these excuses and wanting to say no. But
who doesn't want to go to a wedding?
Well, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You sort of think, hey, come to a wedding. And the chosen people sort of said, no, don't want it. But in that Luke passage, there's also that whole idea that someone shows up without having the right garment on. And Augustine, so in St. Augustine influenced the church greatly on interpreting.
Well, when did he live?
So he lived around, what was that, 300, 500?
So right early in church history.
Yeah, right early in church history. So he influenced a lot of Christianity with some of his writings and focus. And he looked at that missing garment as charity.
Okay.
And so that's what was lacking, charity, being compassionate to others, So out of that, the church was identified with doing works of charity and stuff. And then Luther, when he came in 1500s, he sort of said, no, that garment that was missing was being clothed with Christ.
Okay.
But I've got, in my sermon, I've got another one.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to listen to the sermon because I think there's something else that's missing, and I think it's got to do with the parable of the 10 virgins.
Okay.
Something was missing.
Okay. So you're working with the theme of the bridegroom, we're the bride, wedding, attending a wedding. So what does that image do to you? Like when you think about Jesus and his coming in that way?
Well, when Edgar and I were sharing with others, and we've got to sort of say, and I look, first to say, it's not my comfortable place as a guy. I think when
are you not one of the mushy feelings?
Well, obviously with Penny, I am, but not in terms of when I think about, I'm going to be preaching about getting mushy with God. It's like, I hate the Jesus is my boyfriend songs and stuff. I just can't relate to that as a guy thinking and praising God in that language. It's that's a little bit, just wrong. But the thing is that, what is it actually talking about when you start to realize that God is in in such love for you, with you,
Yes.
that he has directed so much attention to you,
Yes.
that he wants you to be in that intimate relationship.
yeah.
And that's what we were created for to begin with.
Yeah.
Then you start to realize that our place in the universe is actually alongside as the bride to the bridegroom.
Yeah.
And what does that look like when my faith, and I've got this line in the sermon that it's actually not about the religious life, it's about the romance life.
Yes.
How do we romance with God?
And that is difficult.
Yeah.
Because we don't naturally relate to God in that way. And probably one added difficulty is because we can't see him.
Yeah.
Like, at least, another person you can see. But like, especially when let's say if you've got a good marriage and you're close to your wife or your husband, hey, I relate to God in the same way, in even more passionate.
Yeah.
And, I think to me it also says God has this longing for us.
Yeah.
So not just for us something opens up in love, but he loves us. And then when he returns, it's almost like Jesus can't wait to return for his bride. We're finally there. And like the favor that he has on us. And I think, Jesus, if you love us that much, come sooner.
Well, and I think when you look at and I'll share that in the sermon too, but the imagery that's used is that, first of all, a bride price has to be established.
Okay.
Well, we would call that the engagement, right?
Okay, yeah.
And that bride price was Christ dying on the cross for us.
So he had to pay a price for us.
Exactly.
To have the privilege
So
to
now
marry us.
we are secured in that relationship.
Yeah.
We have the promise of that.
Yeah.
But it's not the fulfillment. It's not the marriage yet. It's the engagement.
Yeah.
So I call this time the dating and waiting.
Okay, dating. Okay, I look forward to the sermon, and I hope you enjoy studying. I think you're going to provide lots of information and making it really rich.
Yes, but just to have a bit of enrichment in all of that, I'm always so fond of the fact that when Edgar came to Germany, from Germany over here, and then brought Jano, and she came over, and they had their wedding here. That was at the seminary where we were, basically in training.
Toowoomba.
Yeah. And so because they were new and didn't have anybody, everyone from the SEM, or from the Bible college, so they became the renter crowd. And so I am so glad to have actually be part of that.
You came along.
Yeah.
Tatiana was 6 days in the country and you attended her wedding.
Yeah.
Right?
How cool is that? Huh?
How cool is that? Okay, hey, great theme. May you enjoy getting your head around the fact you're the bride of Christ. He loves you that much, and he's going to return for us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.